The massive holographic projection filled the entire sky above every major city on Earth. The alien figure, tall and imposing in ornate golden armor, looked down upon humanity with cold eyes. His voice boomed across the planet in perfect English, though his mouth moved in an entirely different language. People of Earth, I am High Commander Marcus of the Galactic Empire. Your planet has been given the honor of joining our great civilization. You have 30 Earth days to submit to our rule. Refuse, and we will turn your world to ash. In the underground command center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral James Stone watched the transmission with a slight smile on his face. The bunker's dim blue lighting cast shadows across his weathered features as he turned to face the emergency meeting of Earth's leaders gathered around the circular table. Ladies and gentlemen, Stone said calmly, they've finally shown their hand, just as we predicted they would. The room erupted in worried whispers. The President of the United States stood up, her face tight with concern. Admiral Stone, we've seen their ships in orbit. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. How can we possibly fight back? Stone pressed a button on the table, and a hidden panel in the wall slid open. Behind it was a display showing hundreds of underground facilities scattered across the solar system, each pulsing with activity. What you're seeing now is humanity's real military strength, Stone explained. For the past 50 years, we've been putting on a show. Every satellite we've launched, every space station we've built, they were all decoys. The real work has been happening in secret. He pressed another button, and the display changed to show massive shipyards hidden inside hollow asteroids. We've captured and reversed-engineered 7 different alien ships over the decades, small scout craft that strayed too close to our system. We made sure their distress signals never made it home. The Chinese premier leaned forward, his eyes wide. How did we keep this hidden from our own people? The same way we kept it hidden from the aliens, Stone replied. Misdirection. Everyone knows about Area 51, but nobody looks for Area 552 or 553 or the thousands of other facilities we built. We kept our real technology off the books, off the networks, and completely isolated. The room grew quiet as Stone brought up another display, showing rows of sleek warships that looked nothing like the clunky vessels humanity publicly used for space travel. We have ships with technology that even the Galactic Empire hasn't developed yet. They rely on standard faster-than-light drives. We've created something entirely different. How many ships? The Russian president asked. 12,000 in the first wave, Stone answered, with more in production. We also have defensive installations throughout the solar system that they haven't detected. Their sensors can't pick up our quantum-based technology because they don't even know it's possible. The Indian Prime Minister shook her head in amazement. All this time, we thought we were barely reaching for the stars. That's exactly what we wanted everyone to think, Stone said. Humanity's greatest weapon has always been our ability to innovate when backed into a corner. We've had 50 years to prepare for this moment, and we've used every second of it. He stood up straight, his voice filled with quiet confidence. The Galactic Empire thinks they're giving us an ultimatum. In reality, they're walking into a trap 5 decades in the making. They see a primitive species that barely made it to their own moon. We're about to show them what humanity is truly capable of. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Up on the screens, the alien High Commander continued his speech, unaware that his threats were falling on very different ears than he imagined. We have 30 days, Stone said finally. That's more than enough time to mobilize our forces. Let them think we're panicking. Let them think we're divided and afraid. When the time comes, humanity won't be surrendering to the Galactic Empire. He smiled again, but this time there was steel in it. The Galactic Empire will be surrendering to us. Deep within the asteroid belt, inside a hollowed-out space rock designated as Base 7, Commander NOL stood at the main control center. The vast chamber hummed with energy as thousands of screens lit up around her. Each display showed a different section of the massive shipyards that had remained dormant for decades, waiting for this moment. "Begin activation sequence," she ordered, her voice steady despite the excitement building in her chest. "Wake up the Ghost Fleet." The chamber erupted with activity as her crew began the process. Hidden doors larger than cities opened in asteroids across the belt. Inside each one, rows of ships hung in perfect formation. Dark, sleek vessels that looked nothing like the crude rockets humanity had pretended were their best technology. "First wave powering up," reported her second-in-command, Tom Richards. "Quantum cores stable. Dimensional shields at full strength." Through the base's observation window, Wells watched as the first ship came to life. The vessel was beautiful in a deadly way, its black hull seeming to bend light around it. Unlike the blocky warships of the Galactic Empire, the human vessels were smooth and curved, designed to slip between dimensions rather than crash through them. "Status report on all ships," Wells called out. Ghost 1 through Ghost 100 report ready, came the response from different stations. Weapon systems online. Quantum entanglement drives synchronized. Wells smiled as she remembered the countless simulations and training exercises that had led to this moment. For 20 years, she had commanded a fleet that officially didn't exist. Her pilots had trained in virtual reality, preparing for a war they couldn't tell their own families about. "Message from Admiral Stone," Commander Richards said, handing her a tablet. "The Galactic Empire's scout ships are performing detailed scans of Earth's defenses. They're falling for it." On her screens, Wells could see the alien vessels moving through the solar system, their sensors passing right through the asteroids that hid humanity's true military might. The Empire's technology was advanced, but it could only detect what it was looking for. They had no way to spot the quantum signatures of human ships because they didn't know such technology was possible. "Show me the numbers," Wells ordered. A hologram appeared in the center of the command center, displaying their forces. 500 ships in this base alone, each one carrying weapons that would seem like magic to their enemies. The ships could phase through solid matter, appearing inside enemy formations. Their quantum torpedoes could bypass any known shield by shifting between dimensions. "All crews report ready for combat training," Richards announced. "Should we begin the drills?" Wells shook her head. "No more drills. We've trained for 50 years. Now we show them what we can do." She pressed a button on her command console, opening a channel to all ships. "This is Commander Wells to all Ghost Fleet personnel. For generations, humanity has hidden its strength, letting the galaxy think we were primitive and weak. That deception ends today." She watched as more ships powered up, their quantum cores pulsing with energy that no alien sensor could detect. "Our enemies think they're being generous, giving us 30 days to surrender. They don't know that we've spent 18,000 days preparing for this moment." The hologram updated, showing the positions of the Galactic Empire's fleet gathering at the edge of the solar system. Their ships were impressive, each one the size of a small city. But size wouldn't matter when they couldn't hit what they couldn't see. "Begin final preparations," Wells ordered. "I want every ship ready for combat operations within 48 hours. When Admiral Stone gives the order, we'll show the Galactic Empire why they should have been afraid of the primitive humans." As her crew carried out their duties, Wells touched the window, looking out at the ships that represented humanity's greatest achievement. The Ghost Fleet wasn't just a military force. It was proof that humanity could face any challenge, overcome any obstacle, if they worked together in secret and patience. "They think they're hunting us," she whispered to herself, watching another ship power up. "They don't realize they're about to become the prey." The Galactic Empire's fleet hung like a wall of steel at the edge of the solar system. 3,000 warships, each one bigger than Earth's largest cities, formed a battle line that stretched for millions of miles. Their golden hulls gleamed in the distant sunlight as they prepared for what they thought would be an easy victory. Admiral Stone stood on the bridge of his flagship, hidden safely inside a hollow asteroid. The massive view screen showed the enemy fleet, and he could almost feel their confidence from here. "They're so proud of themselves," he said quietly, "so sure of their superiority." He turned to his communications officer. "Send the signal to Commander Wells. Operation Ghost Strike begins now." Light years away, in the Galactic Empire's command ship, High Commander Marcus sat on his throne-like chair, watching Earth through long-range cameras. "Primitive creatures," he said to his officers. "They haven't even tried to evacuate their cities. Perhaps they're smarter than we thought, and no resistance is pointless." Suddenly, one of his junior officers shouted in alarm, "Sir, energy readings appearing inside our formation." "But that's impossible." Before Marcus could respond, chaos erupted across his fleet. The Ghost Fleet ships materialized out of nowhere, appearing directly between the Empire's carefully arranged battle lines. There was no flash of light, no sign of movement. They simply existed where moments before there had been empty space. All ships opened fire. Wells commanded from her position in the heart of the Ghost Fleet. "Show them what humans can do." The quantum torpedoes launched silently, passing straight through the Empire's shields as if they weren't there. The alien vessels, for all their size and power, might as well have been naked in space. Their mighty shields, designed to stop energy and matter, were useless against weapons that phased between dimensions. "Impossible," Marcus screamed as explosions rippled across his fleet. "Their technology. They couldn't have. They're primitives." Stone watched from his command center as the battle unfolded. The Empire's ships were firing back now, but their weapons passed harmlessly through the Ghost Fleet vessels. Human scientists had cracked the secret of quantum phasing decades ago, allowing their ships to shift slightly out of normal space whenever enemy weapons approach. "Second wave, begin your attack," Stone ordered calmly. More Ghost Fleet ships appeared, this time behind the Empire's formation. The alien fleet was caught in a perfect crossfire, being hit by weapons they couldn't block from enemies they couldn't hurt. "Sir," Wells' voice came through the command channel. "The enemy is trying to retreat. Should we pursue?" Stone considered for a moment. "Negative, Commander. Let some of them escape. I want them to tell their leaders exactly what happened here." The battle lasted less than 30 minutes. When it was over, more than half of the Empire's mighty fleet had been destroyed or disabled. The surviving ships fled in panic, their neat formation forgotten as they desperately jumped to faster-than-light speed. In his command ship, which was now missing several decks from quantum torpedo hits, High Commander Marcus stared at the battle reports in shock. "How?" he whispered. "How did they hide this from us?" Back on the human flagship, Stone allowed himself a small smile. "Damage report. 0 casualties, Admiral," his tactical officer reported. "The Empire never landed a single hit. Our quantum phasing systems worked perfectly." Stone nodded, satisfied. "Send word to Earth's governments. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The Empire now knows we can fight back, but they don't yet understand how badly they've underestimated us." He turned to look at the tactical display, where the retreating Empire ships were shown as red dots fleeing the solar system. "They thought they were being generous, giving us 30 days to surrender. Instead, we only needed 30 minutes to show them humanity's true power." In her own ship, Commander Wells watched the enemy retreat with grim satisfaction. "Send recovery teams to salvage the destroyed Empire ships," she ordered. "Every piece of their technology we capture makes us stronger." The first battle was over, but everyone knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed its hidden strength, and soon they would show the galaxy that they were done hiding. Commander Wells stood before the massive holographic map showing the Galactic Empire's territory. Hundreds of stars glowed before her, each one marking the system under Empire control. After 50 years of secret observation, humans knew every hyperspace route, every defensive position, and every weak point in their enemy's vast territory. "Begin Operation Thunderstrike," she ordered. "All Ghost Fleet squadrons, execute jump sequence. Across the solar system, 5,000 ships vanished from their hidden bases. The quantum entanglement drives hummed to life, allowing the vessels to ignore traditional hyperspace routes entirely. Where Empire ships had to follow fixed paths between stars, human ships could appear anywhere they wanted. The first target was the Empire's main hyperspace junction at Starbase Alpha. It was their primary route for moving warships across the galaxy. The base's commanders had no warning when 300 Ghost Fleet ships materialized inside their defense perimeter. All ships fire at designated targets only, Wells commanded. We're not here to destroy them. We're here to capture their technology and control their movement. The quantum torpedoes struck with surgical precision. Within minutes, the massive station's engines were disabled, its weapons were silent, and its communications were cut off. The mighty fortress that had stood for centuries fell without firing a single effective shot. Back on his flagship, Admiral Stone watched as reports flooded in from across Empire space. "Status update," he called out. His tactical officer's voice was filled with pride. "Sir, Ghost Fleet squadrons report success at all primary targets. We now control 18 major hyperspace junctions. The Empire's fleet is cut off and scattered." Stone nodded, studying the strategic display. The Empire's territory was vast, but without their hyperspace network, they couldn't move their forces effectively. Their remaining ships were trapped in small groups, unable to gather for a counterattack. "Message from Field Base 7, an officer reported. Captain Lee reports they've captured an Empire weapons research facility. The aliens abandoned it so quickly they left all their data behind." In her command ship, Wells directed the next phase of the attack. The Ghost Fleet was striking smaller targets now: supply depots, repair stations, and communication centers. Everything the Empire needed to fight a war was being taken away piece by piece. "Commander," her sensor officer called out, "we're picking up unusual readings from the Empire's capital world. Their central defense fleet is powering up." Wells studied the data and smiled. "They're desperate. They're trying to gather their remaining ships for a final stand." She opened a channel to all Ghost Fleet vessels in the sector. "All ships, maintain position. Let them come to us." The Empire's capital fleet was impressive. 500 warships of the latest design, gathering to protect their throne world. They formed a sphere around the planet, their weapons charged in shields at maximum power. But they were fighting an enemy they couldn't understand. Ghost Fleet ships simply phased through their formation, appearing inside their defensive sphere. The quantum torpedoes struck again and again, disabled engines and weapons without destroying the vessels. "Sir," Wells' communications officer reported, "we're receiving surrender signals from 30 Empire ships. Their crews are abandoning vessel." "Accept their surrender," Wells ordered. "Prepare boarding teams. Every Empire ship we capture gives us more intelligence about their operations." The battle for the capital world lasted 2 hours. When it was over, the Ghost Fleet had captured 300 Empire warships and forced the rest to retreat. The Empire's leaders had fled their palace, leaving behind countless secrets for humanity to discover. Admiral Stone's voice came through the command channel. "Excellent work, Commander. With their capital under our control and their fleets scattered, the Empire has lost its ability to wage war effectively." Wells looked at the tactical display, where thousands of green dots showed human ships spreading through Empire space. "It's strange," she said. "They spent centuries building this empire, thinking they were the most powerful force in the galaxy. It took us less than a day to prove them wrong." The counter-invasion was succeeding beyond their best expectations. Humanity wasn't just defeating the Empire. They were dismantling it piece by piece, showing the galaxy that technological advancement meant nothing without the wisdom to use it properly. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was in chaos. Representatives from 100 alien species shouted and argued as reports of human victories continued to pour in. The massive circular chamber, once a symbol of the Empire's power, now witnessed its greatest crisis. High Commander Marcus stood before the council, his golden armor now dented and scratched from his narrow escape. "We must unite all our forces," he shouted. "These humans cannot be allowed to." "Cannot be allowed," interrupted the delegate from the Blue Star Systems. "Like we were not allowed to develop our own technology. Like we were not allowed to build our own fleets." More voices joined in. The Empire had kept many species down, forcing them to remain dependent on Imperial technology and protection. Now, watching humans tear that empire apart, these races saw their chance for freedom. Admiral Stone watched the council session through a secure feed in his command center. Beside him stood John Parker, Earth's first official ambassador to the galaxy. They had chosen him for his calm demeanor and sharp mind. "It's time," Stone said. "They're ready to hear our terms." Parker nodded and stepped through the quantum portal that appeared before him. In an instant, he moved from Stone's command center to the floor of the Galactic Council. The aliens fell silent at his sudden appearance. "Honored representatives," Parker began, his voice clear and strong. "I bring a message from Earth. We did not want this war. It was forced upon us by those who thought they could demand our surrender." He gestured to a hologram that appeared above the council floor. It showed scenes from Earth's history, wars, disasters, and countless struggles that had shaped humanity. For thousands of years, we fought among ourselves. We nearly destroyed our world more than once. But each time, we learned. We grew stronger. We understood that true power comes not from conquering others, but from advancing together. In the shadows of the council chamber, representatives from smaller alien races watched with growing hope. They had suffered under the Empire's rule for generations. "The Terran Empire offers you a choice," Parker continued. "Not an ultimatum like the one we received. A real choice. Join us in building a new galactic community, one based on cooperation and mutual respect, not domination and fear." Commander Wells, watching from her flagship, saw the reactions spreading through the council. Some species were already signaling their support. Others looked uncertain, but not hostile. "Those who join us will have access to our technology," Parker said. "Yes, including our quantum drive systems. We will teach you, trade with you, grow with you. Those who choose not to join us will be left in peace, free to govern themselves as they wish." High Commander Marcus stepped forward, his face red with rage. "You cannot simply." A quantum torpedo materialized next to his head, hovering silently. Wells had sent it as a reminder of Earth's power. Marcus fell silent, stepping back. "The time of ultimatums is over," Parker said firmly. "The time of threats and demands has passed. Earth extends its hand in friendship, but we will never again bow to those who think military might gives them the right to rule." One by one, delegates began to stand. The Blue Star Systems were first, followed by the Ring Worlds Alliance. Soon, 20 different species had declared their support for Earth's proposal. Admiral Stone smiled as he watched. This was the real victory, not the battles won, but the Allies gained. Earth had not just defeated an empire, they had changed the very nature of galactic politics. Message from the outer sectors, his communications officer reported. 3 more species are requesting protection from Empire forces. They want to join our alliance. In the council chamber, Parker continued to accept declarations of support. The Empire's representatives could only watch as their power crumbled. Their mighty empire, built on force and fear, was being replaced by something new. An alliance built on respect and cooperation. Commander Wells watched the proceedings from her bridge, feeling proud. They had not just won a war. They had started a revolution. The galaxy would never be the same, and humanity would help guide it toward a better future. Red alert signals flashed across every human ship and base in the solar system. The Empire's remaining forces had gathered for one final desperate attack on Earth. 5,000 warships, everything they had left, jumped into the solar system at once. "They're not even trying to be subtle anymore," Commander Wells said from her bridge, watching the massive enemy fleet approach. "They're just coming straight for Earth." Admiral Stone's voice came through the command channel. All Ghost Fleet vessels, battle positions. This is what we've prepared for. Today, we end this war. The Empire's fleet was different this time. Their ships had been modified, equipped with new sensors designed to detect quantum energy signatures. They had learned from their defeats and were ready to fight the Ghost Fleet on more even terms. Enemy ships are launching some kind of new weapon, Wells' tactical officer reported. They're creating disruption fields that might affect our quantum drives. In his flagship at the head of the Empire fleet, High Commander Marcus watched with grim satisfaction. Let's see them phase through space when we've disrupted the quantum field itself, he said. All ships, advance. For the glory of the Empire. The battle began with a fury that lit up the space around Earth like a new sun. Empire ships fired their disruption weapons, creating zones where quantum manipulation became difficult. For the first time, Ghost Fleet vessels had to fight without their greatest advantage. Multiple hits reported on our outer squadron. Wells' damage control officer called out. The Empire's weapons are actually reaching us now. Stone remained calm in his command center. Initiate Protocol Omega, he ordered. Commander Wells, you have permission to use the quantum cascade device. Wells nodded grimly. This was the weapon they had hoped they wouldn't need to use. All Ghost Fleet ships, fall back to safe distance, she commanded, preparing to activate QCD. The device was humanity's ultimate weapon, not a tool of destruction, but something far more elegant. Earth's scientists had discovered that quantum fields could be linked together, creating a chain reaction that would spread through space. Enemy fleet is pursuing our retreat, her tactical officer reported. They think they have us on the run. Let them think that, Wells said quietly. QCD charging. 20 seconds to activation. On his flagship, Marcus watched the human fleet retreat with growing excitement. Press the attack. We have them running. The Empire will. He never finished his sentence. The quantum cascade device activated, sending out an invisible wave of energy that rippled through space. As it touched each Empire ship, their advanced technology began to fail. Quantum disruption fields collapsed, weapons went dead, and engines sputtered to a halt. What's happening? Marcus screamed as his ship's systems shut down one by one. What have they done to us? Wells watched as the massive Empire fleet drifted helplessly in space. The QCD hadn't destroyed their ships. It had simply rendered their technology useless by changing the quantum state of space itself in their vicinity. All Ghost Fleet ships, move in, she ordered. Begin rescue operations for Empire crews. No one else needs to die today. Stone's voice came through again. Status report. The quantum cascade device worked perfectly, sir, Wells reported. 5,000 enemy ships disabled. No casualties on either side. We're beginning rescue operations now. In his powerless flagship, Marcus stared in disbelief as human ships approached, offering assistance to his stranded crews. They could have destroyed his entire fleet, but instead they chose to save them. This is Commander Wells to all Empire vessels. Her voice transmitted on emergency frequencies. Your ships have been disabled, but you are not our enemies anymore. We will provide rescue and safe transport for all crew members. The final battle for Earth ended not with destruction, but with mercy. The Ghost Fleet moved through the disabled Empire Armada, rescuing crew members and securing vessels. It was a victory more complete than any amount of destruction could have achieved. Send word to Earth, Stone ordered. The war is over, and let the galaxy know. Humanity will defend itself when threatened, but we choose to end conflicts with compassion when we can. The stars seemed to shine brighter as rescue operations continued, marking the end of one era and the beginning of another. An era where humanity's strength was matched by its wisdom. 1 month after the final battle, representatives from over 200 alien species gathered in the newly constructed Galactic Peace Center on Earth. The massive building, with its crystal dome and quantum-powered environmental systems, represented humanity's vision for the future. Admiral Stone stood at the main podium, looking out at the assembled delegates. Beside him, Commander Wells and Ambassador Parker sat with leaders from the former Empire worlds. The chamber was filled with beings of all shapes and sizes, from tiny floating creatures to massive silicon-based life forms. Today marks a new beginning. Stone began, his voice translated instantly into hundreds of languages. Not just for Earth, or for the former Empire, but for all spacefaring species who wish to build a better galaxy together. On screens around the chamber, images showed joint human-alien crews working to rebuild damaged worlds. The quantum cascade device had disabled thousands of ships, but Earth had helped rescue and restore each one. We could have used our victory to build our own empire, Stone continued. Instead, we choose to build a federation, a union of equals, where each species contributes their unique strengths and perspectives. In the audience, High Commander Marcus watched quietly. After his rescue, he had seen firsthand how differently humans treated their former enemies. Where the Empire had demanded submission, Earth offered partnership. Commander Wells stepped up to the podium next. Our first act is to share our quantum technology with all member worlds. But we'll do more than just give you the tools. We'll teach you how to understand and improve them. The announcement caused excited murmurs through the crowd. Empire rule had always been about control, keeping advanced technology away from lesser species. This was something entirely new. Each member world will have a seat on the Federation Council, Ambassador Parker explained. Decisions affecting the galaxy will be made together, not dictated from above. Military power will be shared, with the Ghost Fleet becoming the core of a joint defense force. On massive screens above the chamber, construction began on the first joint human-alien shipyard. The facility would build vessels combining the best technologies from all member species. But perhaps most importantly, Stone said, retaking the podium, we will learn from each other. Earth spent 50 years hiding its advancement because we saw how the Empire treated rising civilizations. That era of fear and suppression ends today. In orbit above Earth, the first graduating class of the new Galactic Academy was completing their training. Young officers from 100 worlds learned to operate Ghost Fleet vessels, sharing their own knowledge and experiences with human crews. The galaxy is vast, Stone continued. There are wonders we haven't imagined and dangers we haven't met, but we'll face them together, as equals, combining our strengths and supporting each other's growth. Commander Wells smiled as she watched ships from former enemy worlds dock at Earth's orbital stations, where once they had come to conquer, now they came to trade, to learn, and to build friendships. Let the galaxy remember this day, Stone concluded, not as the day Earth defeated an empire, but as the day we all chose a better path. Together, we will reach heights none of us could achieve alone. The chamber erupted in applause and various alien expressions of approval. Species that had been enemies for centuries were signing treaties of cooperation. Ancient rivalries were being set aside in favor of mutual advancement. Later that evening, Stone stood with Wells and Parker on the Peace Center's observation deck, watching the sunset paint the sky in beautiful colors. Did you ever think it would end like this? Wells asked, looking at the alien ships peacefully orbiting Earth. Not an ending, Stone replied. A beginning. Humanity spent 50 years preparing for war, but our greatest achievement turned out to be building peace. As night fell, lights came on across the planet, mixing with the stars above. Earth had not just survived its greatest challenge, it had transformed it into an opportunity for all species to grow together. The galaxy would never be the same, and that was exactly what humanity had hoped for all along.